Wait for it godi navir laddie. Always rajat on Tima. Somebody is in a season of waiting right now. You've prayed. You fasted. You've believed. And still heaven is quiet. It feels like God pressed pause on your life. Like the promise is hanging in the air but not touching the ground. And you're asking, Lord, where are you? But I came to speak into your spirit. Wait for it. Because God is never late. He's not dragging his feet. He's not stuck in traffic. He's not trying to figure out what to do with you. He knows. He knows the path. He knows the hour. He knows the moment your destiny will collide with his perfect plan. You see, we live in a microwave world, but we serve a slow-cooked God. He doesn't throw raw purpose into your life. He seasons it. He simmers it. He stirs it until it's ready. And if you rush it, you'll ruin it. If you force it, you'll forfeit it. But if you wait, if you trust him in the silence, you'll discover what many missing, that God's timing is more powerful than your timing. He's not ignoring you. He's preparing everything around you so that everything within you doesn't collapse when the blessing shows up. Because the truth is, you're not just waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on you to become the person who can handle it. Some of you are asking God for a door, and God is saying, I'm still building the hallway. You're praying for a spouse, but he's still healing the part of you that would sabotage the marriage. You're asking for the platform, but he's still strengthening your character to carry the weight of influence. So don't you dare despise the wait. God is not denying you. He's developing you. Every delay is divine. Every pause has purpose. Every not yet is a yes that's not ready to reveal. Let me tell you something. God does not need your clock. He doesn't need your calendar. He doesn't check your deadlines. He checks your heart. And when your heart is ready, when your mind is prepared, when your foundation is firm, he'll move. And when he moves S-U-D-N-I. Suddenly the doors open. Suddenly the favor falls. Suddenly the phone rings. Suddenly everything you've been praying for is standing in front of you. And all you'll be able to say, IZ, it was God and he was right on time. Let me remind you of something. Lazarus was dead 4 days before Jesus showed up. Everybody else thought it was too late. But when Jesus called him out, Lazarus didn't walk. He came forth. Because when God speaks, even death has to bow to his timing. So whatever looks lifeless, whatever looks like it's past the point of hope, whatever dream looks like it's been buried too long, wait for it. The same God who opened Sarah's womb in old age, the same God who promoted Joseph from prison to palace, the same God who showed up in the lion's den, in the fiery furnace, in the middle of the storm, that same God hasn't forgotten you. He heard you. He saw you. He's working behind the scenes. He's setting it all up so that when it happens, you'll know it wasn't your talent, your effort, your timing. It was his grace. It was his power. It was his timing. So hold your ground. Stay in position. Don't curse the waiting season. Don't quit in the hallway. Don't lose heart while heaven finishes setting the table. Because what he's bringing is bigger than what you asked for. It's greater than what you imagined. And it's coming at the exact moment it's supposed to. Wait for it. Godis navir lanti. His always right on Timmy. There comes a moment in every life, in every journey of faith, where you're forced to sit with silence. You've prayed the prayer. You've declared the promise. You've done all the things people told you to do. You fasted. You believed. You gave. You served. And yet the answer hasn't come. The door hasn't opened. The healing hasn't happened. The shift hasn't shown up. And there you are, surrounded by a world that keeps moving forward while you feel stuck. You're watching others receive what you've been praying for. You see them walking into blessings that look like your prayers. And there's a voice deep down inside whispering, maybe God said no. Maybe it's not for me. But I came to tell you delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't overlooked your tears. He hasn't ignored your prayers. He's not withholding because he's angry or silent because he's absent. No, he's strategic. He's sovereign. He knows the beginning from the end from the beginning, and everything in between. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. Because every delay in your life has purpose. What if I told you that the reason it hasn't happened yet is because it's still growing? What if the delay is God's protection keeping you from stepping into something you're not fully equipped to handle? You're asking for the promise, but God is watching your capacity. He's not asking if you're eager. He's checking if you're ready. Sometimes the blessing takes longer because it's bigger than what you expected. And if God gave it to you too soon, it would crush you under its weight. The delay is the mercy of God. The delay is the kindness of God. The delay is the wisdom of God saying, let me finish building the foundation so the favor doesn't break you. You've got to understand. He's not trying to frustrate you. He's trying to fortify you. Because if you think the wait is hard, imagine what it would feel like to get the very thing you prayed for, only to watch it slip through your fingers because you weren't ready to hold it. So the delay, it's working for you. It's building things in you that only time can construct. It's breaking things off of you that can't go into the next season. It's developing endurance. It's producing faith that won't fold when the storm comes. It's teaching you how to praise without proof, how to believe without a blueprint, how to walk by faith when everything looks like failure. People around you may not understand why you're still waiting, why you're still trusting, why you haven't given up yet. They think silence means absence. They think delay means denial. But they don't know the God you serve. The God who waits until it looks impossible. Just so when it happens, nobody but him can get the glory. The truth is, when it happens quickly, we tend to take credit. But when it takes longer than we expected, and when we finally receive it, we fall on our faces and cry, it was nobody but God. Because we know we couldn't have made it happen on our own. We know we didn't have the strength, the power, or the connections. We know that he made a way. The delay makes sure you never forget who opened the door. The delay makes sure you remember who kept you in the dark season. The delay makes sure your heart is postured in humility and your lips stay filled with praise. Somebody right now is wrestling with a delay. You're tired. You're discouraged. You're on the verge of settling. You're thinking about lowering your standards, walking away from what you know God said, entertaining something that looks close enough. Because the weight feels too heavy. But I need you to hold on. Don't let your feelings talk you out of your future. Don't let your impatience cancel your inheritance. Don't let your loneliness open a door to something that looks like a blessing but will end up being a burden. Because the moment you settle, you step outside of the timeline God ordained for your life. There's a version of your life that is only accessible if you wait. Not wait and complain. Not wait and manipulate. not wait and grumble, but wait and trust. When you understand that delay is not denial, you stop seeing time as your enemy and start seeing it as a divine tool. God uses time to shape you, not to punish you. He uses time to reveal who's really for you. He uses time to build the muscles you'll need for the next level. He uses time to teach you that if the people leave, the money dries up, and the platform shrinks, you'll still praise him anyway. Because the delay separates the ones who want the gift from the ones who want the giver. The delay reveals whether you trust his hand or his heart. The delay asks, will you worship me even when you don't understand me? The delay says, can you trust me when you can't trace me? That's where real faith is forged, in the quiet, in the slow, when nothing is moving, but you're still believing. When everything says walk away, but you stay. When logic says give up, but your spirit says hold on. You might be in a delay, but you're not in a dead end. You might feel stuck, but you're not abandoned. You might be weeping, but weeping may endure for a night. Joy comes in the morning. You may not know how, but if God promised it, it will come to pass. This is the season to silence every voice that tells you it's too late. This is the moment to look your doubt in the face and declare, I still believe. I'm still waiting. I'm still expecting. Because my God is never late. He doesn't miss appointments. He doesn't drop the ball. He doesn't cancel promises. When he shows up right on time. And when he does, it'll be more than you imagined, more than you asked for. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And you'll realize every minute of the wait was worth it. Because you didn't just receive the blessing, you became the kind of person who could carry it. So stand still. Don't bow to pressure. Don't give in to fear. Don't let delay convince you that God changed his mind. He's still going to do it. He's still going to make it happen. Delay is not denial. Just wait for it. There is a rhythm to everything God does. There is a timing that belongs to heaven, and it does not bow to human pressure. God does not rush. He does not panic. He does not respond to desperation. He moves when it's time. You may not like the wait. You may not understand the silence. You may cry out and hear nothing but stillness in return. But just because you can't hear God doesn't mean he's not moving. Just because you can't see the breakthrough doesn't mean it's not in motion. Because God moves in appointed seasons, not in your impatience. You don't plant in winter. You don't reap in spring. You don't harvest before the seed has taken root. There is a divine calendar, and heaven is never late in sending what was promised. It's just that we often don't recognize the process of preparation before manifestation, and preparation takes time. See, we want quick miracles, sudden shifts, overnight change. We want the Red Sea to part before we ever stand in front of it. But God doesn't operate by demand. He operates by destiny. He is not governed by time. He created time. And when he marked your name, he also marked a moment. That moment is already set. The doors you're praying for, already written into the story. The healing you're waiting on, already assigned. The favor, the increase, the elevation, all already scheduled into your life. Not based on emotion, not based on performance. Based on divine appointment. You've got to understand that there are seasons where God withholds, not because he's cruel, but because he's aligning. He's moving people around. He's shifting circumstances. He's protecting you from stepping into something premature. He's protecting others from the version of you that still needed to grow. Because when the moment comes, everything must fit. It's not just about you being ready. It's about the world being ready for what you carry. Some things haven't shown up because they need the right atmosphere to thrive in. You've been asking God for rain while still standing in dry ground. But God says, I'm not just sending rain, I'm turning the soil. I'm sending clouds. I'm shifting winds. I'm preparing the earth to receive what I've already prepared in heaven. You think it's about the promise, but God is too wise to give the promise without preparing the stage. Because if you walk into the right promise at the wrong time, it becomes a problem. If you step through the door before the ground has been laid, the very blessing you begged for will break you. So God says, wait, not because it's a no, but because it's not the moment yet. Not all delay is denial. Some of it is divine order. God isn't slow, He's strategic. And what feels like a pause is really a setup for perfection. Let me tell you, when God moves, He moves suddenly. And when that appointed time hits, there won't be enough hands to carry the blessing. There won't be enough space to store the overflow. There won't be enough words to describe the goodness that's going to flood your life. But until then, you have to walk in faith, not frustration. You have to trust that He knows when. You have to believe that if He hasn't done it, it's not because He forgot. It's because He's faithful to do it at the right time. Sometimes God doesn't move when you expect, because He's trying to teach you how to endure without evidence. He's trying to show you that faith isn't about seeing. It's about trusting what you can't see yet. He wants you to believe even when there's no wind, no clouds, no sign. Because when the season shifts, it will shift fast. And when it does, your posture in the waiting room will determine your position in the blessing. It's easy to praise when you're holding the promise. But can you praise when you're only holding a prophecy? Can you rejoice when you're carrying a word, but not a manifestation? Can you celebrate when all you've got is trust in a God who's never let you down? You see, it's in those dry seasons, those long nights, those silent days. That's where true faith is born. Not in the harvest, but in the holding. Not in the promise fulfilled, but in the promise believed. That's where your roots grow deep. That's where your worship gets real. That's where your soul gets anchored. Because if you can wait and still worship, if you can stand still and still serve it, if you can stay planted and still praised, then when the appointed time comes, nothing can move you, nothing can break you. Nothing can stop what God has set in motion. Let me remind you, Joseph had a dream at 17, but the palace didn't come until years later. David was anointed as king, but had to run for his life and wait through battle before the crown ever touched his head. Jesus walked the earth for 30 years before a single miracle was seen, because even God in flesh understood there is a time for everything. And if the King of Kings had to wait for the appointed hour, then who are we to think that our time is being wasted? No, you are not forgotten. You are not left behind. You are not disqualified. You are in the hands of a God who moves with perfect timing. So don't despise the silence. Don't rush the process. Don't abandon your post just because it hasn't happened yet. Stay faithful. Stay expectant. Stay rooted. Because your appointed season is coming. There's going to come a day where what you're waiting for shows up without warning. The phone call, the breakthrough, the opportunity, the miracle. And when it comes, it won't be small. It won't be barely enough. It won't be just what you asked. It'll be pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And when it comes, you'll look back at all the nights you cried, all the moments you wondered, all the times you felt forgotten. And you'll realize He was preparing you the whole time. He was orchestrating things behind the scenes. He was working while you were waiting. So lift your head, wipe your tears, rebuke the lie that says it's too late. Silence the voice that says it won't happen, because God does not move on demand. He moves on destiny. And when it's time, not one devil in hell, not one delay on earth, not one circumstance in your life can stop Him from doing what He said. God moves in appointed seasons. Wait for it, because it's coming, and it will not be late. It will be right. It will be full. It will be holy. It will be more than enough. And when it comes, think you'll know it was worth the wait. Before God lifts you, He always builds you. Before He trusts you with the blessing, He tests you in the background. Before He opens the door in front of people, He shapes your character in the shadows. Because promotion without preparation is destruction in disguise. See, we live in a world that's obsessed with outcomes. We want the crown without the cross. We want the spotlight without the sacrifice. We want the platform without the process. But let me tell you, God doesn't promote potential. He promotes preparation. He doesn't move just because you want it. He moves when you're ready for it. And readiness isn't about how badly you desire it. It's not about how long you've waited. It's not about who said you're gifted, talented, or deserving. It's about who you've become in the waiting. God is not in a hurry to give you something you're not ready to carry. He's not going to let a blessing crush you because you never developed the muscles to hold it. He won't send a flood of favor into a life that still leaks discipline. He won't give you a relationship when your heart is still bleeding from your last one. He won't trust you with influence until your pride is dead and buried. So He prepares you. He puts you through pressure. He walks you through fire. He breaks you so that He can build you again. Not weaker, but stronger. Not smaller, but deeper. Not wounded, but wiser. And that preparation, it's not glamorous. It's not posted. It's not celebrated. It's quiet. It's lonely. It's slow. It's in the dark places where nobody's watching but heaven. It's in the tears nobody sees, the prayers nobody hears, the sacrifices nobody claps for. It's in those places where character is forged, where pride is stripped, where ego dies, where your dependence on man is replaced by full dependence on God. God is not interested in developing your image. He's interested in developing your integrity. Because the thing you're asking for, the thing you've been crying about, the thing you think you're ready to hold, it carries weight. And weight without structure will always collapse. That's why He's teaching you how to carry rejection. That's why He's teaching you how to carry being overlooked. That's why He's letting people walk away. Because the next level will require emotional strength that only loss can teach you. You're asking God to elevate you, and God is saying, let me first establish you. Because what good is a new level if the foundation is still shallow? Preparation is the proof that you could be trusted. And trust is everything to God. Before He gives you more, He watches what you do with less. He watches how you steward obscurity. He watches how you carry the small assignments. He watches what you do when no one's watching. Because how you behave in the basement tells Him if you're ready for the rooftop. You think nobody sees you, but God sees you. He sees how you keep showing up. He sees how you keep sowing. He sees how you keep serving. He sees how you keep praising even when it feels pointless. And He's keeping record, not for punishment, but for promotion. The world promotes people based on perception, but God promotes people based on preparation. You don't have to network your way into what God already has your name on. You don't have to manipulate, beg, impress, or perform. You just have to be faithful with what's in front of you. You just have to pass the test behind the curtain before He pulls it back and reveals you to the world. If you skip the process, you'll sabotage the promise. If you avoid the hard work, you'll lack the strength to sustain what you've been given. That's why some people get the blessing but lose it. They got it too soon. They stepped into a season their soul hadn't caught up with. They ran ahead of God's timing, and what should have been a blessing became a burden. But not you. Because God loves you too much to let you get there unready. He loves you too much to let you collapse under something you were meant to carry with grace. So He's teaching you how to stand, how to endure, how to stay rooted when the storm comes, how to rely on His strength, not your gifts, how to walk by faith, not by applause. He's teaching you how to lead with humility, how to serve without entitlement, how to give when it hurts, and how to keep your heart clean when people throw dirt. And when the time comes, when He knows the ground is firm, when your heart is steady, when your hands are strong, He will elevate you. And when He does, it won't be fragile. It won't be unstable. It won't be something you have to fight to keep. Because what God builds, He sustains. What God promotes, He protects. What God gives, no man can take away. So if you're in the background right now, don't resent it. If you're hidden, don't panic. If doors are closed, don't curse them. Because you're not being buried, you're being planted. And planted things don't die, they grow. But before they rise, they're covered. Before they bloom, they're hidden. Before they break through the surface, they're buried in silence. You're in the soil season, a season of roots, a season of stretching, a season where you don't look like what you carry. But don't be fooled. God is doing more in your private season than He'll ever reveal in your public one. One day the curtain will open. One day the promotion will come. One day the call will happen. And people will think it came out of nowhere. But you'll know. You'll know the nights you cried. You'll know the hours you labored in secret. You'll know the crushing, the breaking, the building. You'll know the journey. And you'll lift your hands and say, Lord, I thank You for the preparation, because it made me ready for the promotion. So don't rush the process. Don't chase the platform. Don't idolize the promise more than the preparation. God is doing something deeper than what you prayed for. He's not just answering the prayer. He's making you the answer. You're not waiting on the promotion. The promotion is waiting on you to become the person who can carry it. Stay steady. Stay faithful. Stay yielded. Because the God who called you is the same God who's crafting you. And when He's done, when He shaped you, strengthened you, tested you, and trained you, He will promote you in a way no man can stop. And you will rise, not because you forced it, but because you were ready. Preparation comes before promotion. Wait for it. Waiting is one of the hardest things you will ever do in life. Not because it's passive, but because it's deeply powerful. See, the world teaches us that waiting means you're wasting time. That if nothing's moving, you're missing out. That if the door hasn't opened, you must have knocked wrong. That if it hasn't happened yet, it's not going to. But God doesn't see waiting the way people do. To him, waiting is not weakness. Waiting is not punishment. Waiting is training ground. Because it's in the wait that he stretches you. It's in the wait that he deepens your trust. It's in the wait that he strengthens your roots before he elevates your reach. You see, some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are not the ones who move fast, but the ones who know how to be still, stay faithful, and endure seasons where nothing seems to be happening at all. There's a reason God lets you sit in the silence. There's a reason he doesn't always answer right away. Because if he answered too quickly, you'd never develop the faith to stand when nothing is shifting. You'd never build the endurance to keep showing up when the doors stay closed. And without that strength, you won't be able to carry what he's preparing for you. He's not trying to hurt you. He's preparing you. He's conditioning your spirit for the weight of what's coming. Because the blessing that God has for your life is going to require spiritual muscle, emotional stability, and unwavering faith. You don't build muscle by sitting. You don't gain strength by coasting. You gain strength under resistance. And waiting is resistance. It's pressure. It's the constant temptation to give up, to let go, to run away. And yet something inside of you says, hold on. Don't quit. Just a little longer. And that moment, that choice, that push, that's where the real strength is born. When you want to let go, but you decide to stand anyway. When your faith feels like it's on life support, but you whisper one more prayer. When your hope is thin, but you lift your hands anyway. That's strength. That's growth. That's how God builds warriors, not just worshipers. Not people who just shout when things go right, but people who stand firm when everything goes wrong. Waiting doesn't weaken you. It reveals what's in you. It uncovers the condition of your faith. It brings to the surface the doubts, the insecurities, the impatience, not so that you collapse under them, but so that you learn how to confront them and come out stronger. Because if you can outlast the wait, you can outlast the warfare. Too many people quit in the middle of the wait. They confuse silence for rejection. They think God's delay means he said no. But God isn't denying you. He's defining you. He's seeing what you do when the promise hasn't arrived yet. He's watching what you say when the doors are still closed. He's measuring the strength of your praise when you don't feel like worshiping at all. And when you choose to remain faithful even when it hurts. That's when heaven stands up. Because God can trust people who don't just celebrate what's coming, but who stay loyal in the absence of evidence. When you can bless him with no breakthrough, that's when you're ready for breakthrough. When you can worship with no answer, that's when the answer starts moving in your direction. But hear me, waiting isn't just about endurance. It's also about alignment. Sometimes you're waiting not because you're behind, but because everything around you isn't in place yet. God is orchestrating things beyond what you can see. He's aligning people, preparing spaces, building connections. And just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean the progress isn't happening. It's like standing in front of a locked door with a key in your hand. But what you don't know is that behind that door, God is setting the table, preparing the room, arranging every detail. So when the time comes and he finally tells you to walk through, everything will be ready, not rushed, not random, but perfectly prepared. And all that time you were waiting, you were being built. Built to carry the weight of that answered prayer. Built to handle the favor. Built to withstand the pressure. because elevation comes with opposition. And if you don't learn how to stand while you're waiting, you'll fall when you're rising. You don't get strength from the success. You get it from the struggle. The waiting room is your training ground. It's where your spirit gets tough. It's where your resolve becomes fireproof. It's where you go from fragile to unshakable. It's also where you find out what you really believe. Because it's easy to talk faith when everything's flowing. It's easy to quote scripture when the breakthrough shows up. But what do you do when nothing makes sense? What do you do when your prayer goes unanswered? Not for days, but for years. What do you do when the report is bad, the door stays shut, and the people you counted on walk away? That's when real strength is born. In the wilderness, in the fire, in the waiting. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the ones who have waited with tears in their eyes, waited with heartbreak in their chest, waited with loss, with grief, with disappointment, and still kept saying, God, I trust you. They didn't fake the pain. They didn't pretend to be fine. They were honest with their hurt, but they didn't quit. They didn't walk away. They stayed. They waited, and they grew. That's what God is doing in your life. He's growing you. He's stretching you. He's building capacity inside of you that you're going to need for what's next. So don't despise the wait. Don't curse the stillness. Don't rush the process. Because while you're waiting, you're becoming. You're becoming stronger. You're becoming wiser. You're becoming stable. You're becoming bold. And when that season shifts, and the door finally opens, and the miracle finally manifests, you'll know it didn't just happen to you. It happened in you. The strength, the patience, the depth, the endurance. You earned every ounce of it in the fire of waiting. And nobody will be able to take it from you. Nobody will be able to convince you that you didn't deserve to be blessed. Because you'll know. You'll know what it cost. You'll know what it took to keep believing when everything told you to quit. So keep showing up. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Because waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening. Waiting means everything is happening. Just beneath the surface. And when God's perfect timing collides with your developed strength, it will all come together. Suddenly, powerfully, beautifully. And in that moment, you won't just be stepping into a new season. You'll be stepping into it with strength you never even knew you had. All because you were willing to do what many won't. Wait. And while you waited, God made you strong. There's something about God that baffles the natural mind. He doesn't move like we move. He doesn't build the way we build. He doesn't operate in increments. He works in suddenlies. You can be waiting for years, standing in faith, pacing the floor in prayer, walking through seasons of drought and delay. And then in a moment, everything changes. No warning, no buildup, no announcement. Just suddenly, it happens. And the shift is so fast, so divine, so overwhelming that you forget the pain of the process. That's the nature of the God you serve. He moves in silence and then blesses in public. He prepares you privately and then promotes you openly. He lets you sit in quiet rooms with no doors and no signs. And then in one instant, the floodgates of heaven burst wide open. And the blessing comes not in pieces, but in power. You thought the wait was wasted. You thought the silence meant nothing was moving. You thought heaven had closed the book on your prayer. But God doesn't show up late. He shows up right on time, and when he does, he doesn't tiptoe in, he overflows. And that's what makes the blessing so undeniable. It doesn't come small. It doesn't come average. It doesn't look like your limited expectation. It shows up with such force, such beauty, such magnitude that you know it was him.